Go apologize to my mother for not setting the table properly. My husband ordered on my birthday. I calmly apologized, but with every word, my mother-in-law grew paler. Anna rushed around the house like she was wound up. She had just turned 35, a birthday she hadn't exactly looked forward to. But David insisted on a celebration, big, noisy, with guests, and, of course, with his mother, Margaret. She adjusted the lace tablecloth on the dining table, white, delicate, a wedding gift from her own mother. It was perfect. Just like everything that came from her mom. Unlike everything else. Anna sighed, trying to chase away the bitter thoughts. It was her birthday, everything had to be perfect. She circled the table, checking the place settings. Forks on the left, knives on the right, wine and champagne glasses. Just as her grandmother had taught her. Margaret would still find something to nitpick. She always did. The cake in the oven smelled heavenly. It was her pride, and her headache, for the past 2 days. The sponge turned out light, the cream smooth, the fondant decorations almost professional. Anna smiled, imagining David's surprise. He always admired her baking skills. Though he never said it aloud in front of his mother. What are you running around for like a headless chicken? David's voice snapped behind her. Anna flinched and turned. David stood in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed. He wore an old t-shirt and sweatpants, not exactly party attire. Just getting ready, Anna said calmly. The guests will be here soon. Getting ready, huh? David muttered. You should have cleaned up this pigsty first. A flicker of irritation rose in Anna's chest. Pigsty? She'd spent the whole day cleaning the apartment until it sparkled. I did clean, she said, trying to stay composed. Just making sure everything's in place. Oh yeah? And what's this? David pointed to a tiny spot on the counter. Can't see it? Anna looked, just a small drop of cream. She wiped it away with a damp cloth. There, she said. It's gone. Pay more attention, David said in that patronizing tone. Mom doesn't like mess. Mom doesn't like. Mom said. Mom thinks. Anna was sick of it. Sick of everything revolving around Margaret. Sick of David always putting his mother's opinion above hers. David, Anna said, keeping her voice steady, it's my birthday. Can't we just go one day without the criticism? I'm not criticizing, David snapped. Just telling it like it is. If you did everything right, I wouldn't have to say anything. She turned away so he wouldn't see the tears welling up. She felt like a little girl being scolded for doing something wrong. On her own birthday. Fine, she said, voice even. Whatever you say. She turned to the oven and checked the cake. Almost done. Just needed the candles. Is the cake at least decent? David asked. Or did you mess it up again? Anna said nothing. She didn't want to argue. She just wanted this day to be over. Soon, the guests began to arrive. Anna's parents were first, bringing flowers and warm hugs. They had always supported her, always believed in her. Their love felt like fresh air in a stifling room. Happy birthday, sweetheart, her mom said, kissing her cheek. You're the best daughter in the world. Thank you, Mom, Anna replied, her eyes welling up again. Then came David's relatives, loud, pushy, full of unsolicited advice and passive-aggressive remarks. And of course, Margaret, with her ever-disapproving face. Hello, Anna, she said, kissing Anna on the cheek like she was doing her a favor. You don't look so good today. Must be tired? I'm fine, Margaret, Anna replied, forcing a smile. Just a little nervous. Nervous? Margaret smirked. What for? It's all simple. Just make sure everything is proper and tasteful. Anna stayed silent. She knew arguing with Margaret was pointless. Margaret was always right, and everyone else wasn't. The guests were taking their seats, complimenting the food. Anna tried to be warm and attentive to everyone, even as tension built inside her. She saw Margaret scanning the table, searching for flaws. And she knew, sooner or later, she'd find some. "What are these plates?" Margaret suddenly said loud enough for everyone to hear. "They look awfully plain. We have a china set with gold trim at home. Why didn't you use that?" Anna felt her cheeks flush. That set had been gathering dust in the cabinet for 10 years. David never allowed it to be used. He was afraid someone might break a piece. "Margaret," Anna said, trying to keep her voice steady, "that set is very delicate. I was afraid something might get broken." "Delicate?" Margaret snorted with disdain. "You just have to know how to handle things. Or are you suggesting everyone here is clumsy?" Anna didn't respond. She could feel everyone's eyes on her. She knew something unpleasant was coming. David stayed silent, staring down at his plate. He always went quiet when his mother started criticizing Anna. He was afraid of her anger. During the toast, Margaret leaned over and whispered something in David's ear. Anna saw his brows furrow, then glance at his mother with a look of guilty resolve. David cleared his throat and tapped his fork against his glass. "Dear guests," he began, and Anna felt a chill run through her. She recognized that tone, that look. Something bad was about to happen. "I'd like to, say a few words." He hesitated, looked at his mother for approval. Margaret nodded with pursed lips. "My mother has pointed out some shortcomings in the way tonight's event was organized." Anna felt heat rise in her face. Shortcomings? She had spent the entire day trying to make everything perfect. And now all of it was being reduced to a careless remark. In particular, David went on, avoiding eye contact, "She feels the table setting lacks sophistication. And the cake, maybe it could have been better. Or ordered from a bakery." Anna's hands began to tremble. She had poured her heart into that cake, baked it, decorated it with fresh berries. And now it meant nothing. "Mom is very upset," David concluded, looking straight at Anna. "And I think you owe her an apology." The room fell silent. Guests stopped chewing and turned to Anna, waiting for her response. She felt dozens of eyes on her, curious, judgmental, pitying. Margaret sat upright, radiating triumph. David looked guilty and scared at the same time. Anna's parents exchanged glances, concern in their eyes. Anna tried to speak, but the words caught in her throat. Tears welled up, but she wouldn't let them fall. She wouldn't let them see her break. "Well?" David prompted. "Just tell her you're sorry. It's not that hard." Not that hard? Did he really think it was that easy, to apologize for trying her best? To apologize for not being good enough for his mother? Anna took a deep breath to steady herself. She looked at David, at his pitiful, dependent face, chained to his mother, and suddenly, something inside her broke. Something that had kept her trapped for years. She calmly rose from her seat. The silence in the room was deafening. Everyone waited for her to speak. "Yes," Anna said, her voice unexpectedly calm and firm. "You're right. I do owe an apology." Margaret smiled smugly. David sighed in relief. But Anna didn't look at them. She looked at the guests, their surprised faces. "I owe an apology," she repeated, "for spending all these years trying to please you, Margaret. For trying to be the perfect wife to your son, even though I knew it was impossible. For staying silent when you criticized my cooking, my home, my friends. For letting you interfere in our lives and destroy our happiness." Anna's voice grew stronger with each word. The fear was gone. The guilt was gone. "I apologize," she said, locking eyes with Margaret, "for not being born with a silver spoon in my mouth. For having parents who aren't as rich or influential as you. For not meeting your impossibly high standards." Margaret began to pale. Her smug smile vanished, replaced by a look of confusion and rage. "I apologize," Anna turned to David, "for loving you. for believing in you, for hoping you'd stand up to your mother and become your own man, for being wrong. David stood frozen, thunderstruck, speechless. His face was as white as chalk. I apologize, Anna said again, turning to the guests, for making you witness this scene, for ruining the celebration. But I can't stay silent anymore. I can't keep pretending everything is fine. She paused and looked around the room. In many of the guests' eyes, she saw sympathy and understanding. Some even nodded in quiet support. I apologize, Anna finished, for living someone else's life all these years, for betraying myself. But that ends now. Her words hung in the air, heavy and absolute. I'm done apologizing. That sentence sounded like a verdict, not just for David and Margaret, but for the old Anna who had spent years trying to live up to someone else's expectations. She slowly removed her wedding ring. The golden band that once symbolized love and hope now felt like a shackle. Anna set it down on the table next to a half-eaten slice of cake, the cake she had made with so much love, hoping for a joyful birthday. Now it seemed like a bitter symbol of broken dreams. No one dared to stop her. David sat frozen, his face twisted in shock and dawning realization. Margaret had gone pale, her usual commanding gaze now dull and confused. The guests were stunned. Some lowered their eyes, others stared at Anna with open compassion. Anna turned and walked out of the room. Every step was heavy, as if her legs were made of lead, but with each one, she felt a strange sense of relief, as if a massive weight was lifting off her shoulders. Beyond the door, there was silence, but not the kind that crushes you. This was the silence of freedom. Inside her, the noise of fear and shame was gone. She walked down the hallway past framed photographs, moments once captured as joyful with David. Now they looked fake, like props from a play she no longer wanted to star in. Anna stopped at the hallway mirror and looked at her reflection. The timid, uncertain woman was gone. In her place stood someone strong, determined, ready to begin again. She walked out of the apartment, leaving everything behind. As she descended the stairs, it felt like she was rising, stepping into a new chapter. Outside, the fresh spring air greeted her, filled with the scent of blooming trees. Anna took a deep breath and smiled. She was free. Back in the apartment, the guests remained, stunned by what had just happened. The silence didn't last long. Soon, hushed voices filled the room, full of surprise and judgment. I always knew Margaret would push her too far, whispered one of David's relatives. You can't treat someone like that forever. And David? How could he let his mother behave like that? Someone else asked, clearly angry. He's been under her thumb his whole life, another chimed in. It's not surprising. Their words were whispered, as if they were afraid Anna might still hear. Margaret sat motionless, her face twisted in a mix of rage and disbelief. David said nothing, his head bowed. He felt hollow, gutted by guilt. He knew he had lost Anna, and there was no one to blame but himself and his mother. Gradually, the guests began to leave, avoiding eye contact with David and Margaret. The celebration was ruined. In the empty apartment, only David and his mother remained, surrounded by the shattered pieces of their broken happiness. The next day, Anna packed her things. She took only what she needed, some clothes, pictures of her parents, a few favorite books, and small keepsakes. She didn't want anything that tied her to the past. David tried to stop her. He begged for forgiveness, promised things would change, swore he would never let his mother interfere again. But Anna was firm. She no longer believed his words. She saw now that their marriage had been doomed from the start, built on lies and compromise. I'm sorry, David, Anna said. But I can't live like this anymore. I want to be happy. She left the apartment for good. David watched her go, feeling like his heart was tearing apart from pain and regret. He knew he'd made a huge mistake, and now he had to live with it. Anna went back to her parents' house. They welcomed her with open arms and loving hearts. They didn't ask questions. They simply hugged her and said they would always be there. "Sweetheart, we always knew that wasn't the place for you," her mother said. "You deserve better. We'll always support you," her father added. "No matter what you decide." Tears of gratitude rolled down Anna's cheeks. She was grateful to have such wonderful parents. The first days were hard. Anna felt lost and alone. Life without David was unfamiliar and painful. But slowly, she started to heal. She realized that divorce wasn't the end of the world, it was the beginning of a brand new chapter. Anna remembered an old dream she had, to open her own bakery. She had always loved making desserts, and she was good at it. So she decided to take a chance and turn her dream into reality. She started small, baking cakes and pastries for friends and acquaintances. Her sweets quickly became popular, and soon she had a steady stream of loyal customers. That's when Anna realized this was her calling. A few months later, Anna opened her very own bakery. She named it Sweet Haven. The place quickly became a local favorite. People came not just for the delicious, beautiful treats but also for the warm, cozy atmosphere Anna had created. Anna was truly happy. She was doing what she loved, earning a living, and finally felt independent and confident. She no longer cared about other people's opinions or feared their judgment. She was in charge of her own life and her own decisions. One day, David walked into the bakery. Anna recognized him immediately, though he had changed a lot. He looked tired and older. "Anna, I wanted to talk to you," David said. "I'm listening," she replied calmly. "I know I made a mistake," he said. "I realize now that I lost you." "Yes," Anna said simply. "You lost me. But it wasn't just me, you lost yourself too." "I want to fix things," David continued. "I want you to come back." Anna looked at him with sympathy. She could see that he truly regretted what he'd done. But there was no going back. She had come too far to return to the same trap. "I'm sorry, David," she said gently. "But that's not possible. I don't love you anymore." David lowered his head. He knew then that Anna would never forgive him. Without another word, he walked out of the bakery, leaving Anna alone. Anna sighed. She didn't feel angry or hurt anymore. She had simply let go of the past and was looking toward the future with hope and optimism. She knew there were still many new and exciting things ahead. And she was ready for whatever came her way, because now she knew the most important thing was to love and respect herself. And never again apologize for who she was. Her story became an inspiration to many women going through similar struggles. She proved that even after the deepest humiliation, it's possible to find the strength to start over and to find happiness. The price of her patience had been high. But it was worth it. Because now, she was free.